Hi, this is Danielle, and this is a video for my final challenge for AECP Level 1. And I want to share an inking technique with you that I'm currently discovering. It's alcohol inks on a gel plate. So you're gonna need a gel plate, preferably from the Jelly Arts brand. That one works best to my experience. And you will start applying 2 different colors of alcohol ink to your gel plate. And I like to do them in the same color family. So here I have a pink and a red color. Then you will lightly spread them with a brayer. Don't touch it too much because the alcohol ink will dry really fast and you will end up taking the ink away. Then I'm using here one of Altenew stencils, and I put it on the gel plate, and you lightly go over it with the brayer again just to get the stencil attached well enough to your gel plate. But again, don't touch it too much. Then I'm applying another color of alcohol ink, kind of in the same color family, but this one is more purple. And I'm going to spread that gently with the brayer again. And being gentle with it is a really big deal because you're really going to take a lot of ink away if you touch it heavily. Now you will need to let it dry for about 30 seconds before you take your stencil away. I fast forwarded a little bit in this video. If you leave the stencil too long, you're going to take too much ink away from under the stencil. And you want some in place of the stencil to be still on your gel plate for the right effect. And now it is really important that you leave it to dry for about 10 minutes, and it needs to be dry to the touch, otherwise this technique will not work for you. Then your next step is gonna be applying a white acrylic paint, and this is kind of activating the ink you apply to the gel plate so you can pick up the print from it. So you do not need too much. It needs to be just a very thin layer, and you don't want to touch it too much, but you want the pattern to kind of see through the paint. That's how light the layer should be. Then you can use any type of cardstock or paper. It will work with any type. I'm not using anything specific. And I'll just put some sheet of printing paper on top of it. Makes it a little easier for me to give pressure. So you can do that with your hands. I'll do it with a clean brayer as well to give an even pressure all over the plate. And I might doing it a little too much here. I'm like overdoing it, but you really want to have a good even pressure to get a good print from the gel plate. And then this is where the magic is gonna happen. You're gonna get a real good print from this. It's such a cool effect. I still can't get over it. So what you have left here is the image of the stencil, but where the stencil was, you can still see some color. Now I'm going to show you the same thing, but with a different color family. So I'm applying 2 different greens, maybe some blues or teal, whatever you want to call it. And you're gonna spread that again with the brayer. Now be careful because the wet green ink will activate the pink ink on your brayer. So as you can see, I keep rolling it off on the scrap piece of paper to the side because it's kind of contaminating colors. You can clean your stencil and your brayer and your gel plate with alcohol over 92%. So that's what you need on hand to clean all your stuff. It's basically the only thing that will clean everything properly. So now I'm adding the stencil again. and adding a third green color to it. You can go all wild if you want and use completely opposite colors, but it can get a little too much. So I like to stay within the same color family to do this technique. So I'm gently spreading the ink that I applied and adding a little bit of more ink. You want every piece of the gel plate to be covered. Now you will have to let the stencil sit for about 30 seconds and then you can take it off again. And then your plate will have to dry for, just to be safe, 10 minutes. Because you really want the ink to be dry. If it's still wet to the touch, it's just not working. Your print is not gonna lift off the plate. Then you're gonna apply some white acrylic paint again. Don't overdo it, just have a thin layer so you can still see the print through it. Now you can add your piece of cardstock again. I really like to do these, to use these small plates, and I have an A2 card size piece of cardstock. I just trim a whole bunch of these when I'm doing this technique so I can make a whole bunch of backgrounds all at once. It's just the easiest to work because you have a lot to clean with the high percentage alcohol once you're done. So it's easiest if you can just do a whole bunch all at once. Now give it good pressure. And then you can lift your print. And I really love how these turn out. And I plan on doing a lot more with different stencils. The Altenew stencils are really perfect for it. Here you see the two I did in this video side by side. You can use them as a whole for a background or just pieces of it. Here are some of the cards that I've made with this gel printing technique for my level 1 final challenge. You can find all the cards that I've made for this challenge on my blog, picsandcheesecake.blogspot.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Danielle21. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.